Hello friends! Welcome to another episode of this channel. If you enjoy these dramas, you need to subscribe so that YouTube recommends our videos every week. Don't forget to like this video. This story begins with Lola, a student at school who is known for always getting the best grades. She dislikes boys who break the rules, and one of them is Pei, the most popular boy in school and the captain of the football team. One day, Lola discovers that a girl is doing Pei's cleaning tasks. Annoyed, she runs to the field, and when he's about to score a goal, she intercepts the ball and demands that he clean the windows immediately. As Pei chases her, begging to play, Lola refuses. Angry, he calls her an ugly fool, and she replies that he's acting like an immature child. After a heated argument, Pei is forced to clean the windows, while the girl apologizes for getting him into trouble. He says that if Lola were a boy, he would have punched her, and Lola overhears this comment. Instead of being intimidated, Pei mocks her, saying that she's boring and that no boy has ever kissed her. Hurt, she walks away, but Pei plans his revenge by setting up a bucket above the door. However, it's the teacher who gets soaked. Lola laughs at him, and Pei is punished with 100 laps around the track. After completing the punishment, Lola teases him, tossing her hair in his face like a dog and calling him a fool. Pei stares at her intensely, making her feel nervous, but she suddenly pricks herself with a pen on her desk and blames him. This leads Pei to declare war on her. When the principal calls him in for a meeting, Pei begs him not to call his parents. The teacher wants to know why they fight, and Pei says that Lola is too demanding and a nerd. The teacher, however, knows that Pei is a terrible student. To address this, the teacher decides that Lola will be Pei's tutor and help him improve his grades. They are forced to work together, and the teacher gives them a mutual attendance certificate that they must sign every day to ensure they're working together. Despite this, whenever the teacher isn't around, the two secretly insult each other, making any potential friendship difficult. On another occasion, before a football match, Lola asks for Pei's notes and realizes that he did everything wrong, forcing him to correct his mistakes. When Pei tries to run away, Lola demands his notes from his friends, who flee in fear. In retaliation, Pei makes Lola run for hours in PE class. Even though she is exhausted, he demands 30 more laps until she can no longer feel her legs. Later, a friend tells Lola that she's lucky to be with Pei because he's super cute. Lola disagrees and speaks badly of him at school, which catches the attention of a group of girls, Pei's fan club. They accuse Lola of hurting their idol and demand that she stop spreading rumors that Pei doesn't care about his fans. Lola refuses to apologize, and the group decides to isolate her. Soon after, Lola confronts Pei, who behaves arrogantly in front of her. When she responds, Pei asks his friends what he should say to win her over. Lola complains that his fan club is bullying her and threatens to stop him from playing football if he doesn't do his homework. Furious, Pei grabs her arm violently and declares that the football team is very important to him. When he doesn't let go, Lola bites him on the arm and walks away, while Pei promises to get back at her. The next day, the teacher is about to punish Lola, but she sneaks into the school radio and is forced to apologize to Pei, who looks proud. When his fan club tries to bully her again, Pei defends her, saying that Lola is a wonderful girl. The group calms down, and Pei invites everyone to the football match, announcing that he has a special gift for his favorite girl. To Lola's surprise, the gift is for her friend, whom Pei promises to drive home for the entire year. Lola is left feeling very envious. Then Pei rides his bike with Lola, and she is so excited that she hugs his body. However, he has a hidden motive because Lola lives near her, and he pretends to pass by her house to ask for her math exam to copy. Lola scolds him for being shameless and sends him away, but he doesn't let her close the door, and they argue. He asks if he can talk to her father, and she replies that her father passed away. We find out that Lola now lives with her uncle and cries because of it. Pei tells her that if she doesn't pass, she'll be kicked off the football team, and he studies hard to impress her with some strange techniques. But the important thing is that he gets good grades, and the teacher congratulates him. He rubs it in Lola's face. Later, he sees a thief stealing a woman's wallet and, despite the danger, calls the police and chases him. Pei helps by jumping off his bike and returns the wallet to the woman, who is happy. However, he discovers that his ankle hurts and Lola touches it, making both of them shy because there was never that much intimacy between them. He then gives her a bird book, which she loves, but since her father passed away, she hasn't been able to buy any. Pei promises to give her one every year as a gift. Lola likes this so much that she even goes to see him at his football match, and she finds his sweaty body very attractive. When he gets kicked, she gets nervous but decides to keep playing for his sake, and she scores a goal that makes him smile. However, his injury worsens, and he wears a cast on his leg. Then, Lola timidly visits him, and his friends laugh because they look like a couple. She feels embarrassed to speak in front of them and runs away. Pei becomes the hero of the school, and he finds an apple as a gift, asking who it's from. What he doesn't know is that it's from Lola, who stays in the shadows, leaving him gifts. They both receive a reward for good behavior, and each time they look at each other, they feel more in love. They try to hide it, but their friend notices that Pei likes Lola. Later, Lola's mother introduces her new boyfriend, with whom she plans to start a family. The man has a son named Remy, who initially seems nice to Lola. But when they're alone, he says that his mother only wants his father's money and insults Lola. He doesn't want his father to marry and says he hates Lola. The dinner is uncomfortable for Lola, so she sadly leaves the house. She meets her friend, who is crying because she thinks she's ugly and will never be liked by boys, especially not by Pei. Lola encourages her and asks Pei to say nice things to her friend. However, he confesses that the one he wants to be kind to is Lola, as she leaves him breathless. Nervous, Lola runs to the bookstore, where she encounters Remy, who notices her and starts following her. After that, Remy bothers her in front of everyone, warning her not to move in with his family because he doesn't want her as a stepsister. She doesn't tolerate his insults and stands up to him. Remy becomes violent, but Pei arrives and defends Lola. She calls him a psychopath, and Pei threatens him. Later, he takes Lola to a beautiful place where they throw stones into the water and do couple things. He tells her that he's scared of moving in with them because Remy seems crazy, and Pei promises to protect her if he ever attacks her. Lola feels better, but her mother organizes a surprise meeting and makes it official that she's getting married to her boyfriend. Both Lola and Pei make faces, and since it's Lola's birthday, her stepfather gives her a mirror, but it turns out to be broken. She doesn't understand why. Remy then says that he broke it because it reflects that his life is broken. Her father scolds him, but Remy says he'll never allow them to become a family. Then Lola feels depressed until she gets home and discovers that her friends have thrown her a surprise birthday party. Pei gives her binoculars so she can watch birds, and when blowing out the cake, he tells her to make a wish. She wishes to go out with him and kiss him every day on the lips, but her joy is short-lived because Remy waits for her outside the school and tells her that it is her mother's fault that her parents are getting divorced. She says her mother doesn't love him, so they fight, and Pei arrives just in time to tell him to shut up. Remy asks if he's her boyfriend, and Pei, fed up, is about to hit him, but Lola steps in and explains that they shouldn't be immature. They end up throwing looks at each other. After that, Lola gathers her most beloved belongings and moves in with her mother to her stepfather's house, becoming Remy's stepsister. He pushes his box away and tells her not to touch his things. She didn't do it on purpose, but he is harsh with her because she made him change rooms and threatens to bully her and her mother. Lola is sad and the gossip of the school because people are talking about how bad her new family is. Pei defends her and makes her smile, which touches her soul. However, Lola can't find her favorite dolls and discovers that Remy threw them in the trash because he thought they were ugly. She picks them up with sadness, as they were a gift from her late father, and confronts him, but quickly calms down because she doesn't want to disturb her mother, as she seems happy, although Remy is a jerk. At the dinner table, Remy intentionally embarrasses his mother by saying she cooks terribly. This affects her deeply, and her father punishes him. Then, Lola finds a photo of Remy's mother, and he quickly snatches it away. She tells him that his mother wouldn't be proud of him, and Remy feels bad. After that, the flu arrives at school, and everyone wears masks. Lola tells him to check his temperature before football practice, and he gets close to her, blowing in her face to show her his temperature. She feels it like a kiss entering her soul. Lola pushes him away and acts tough in front of Pei, who tries to touch her all the time. He also calls her to his house and says he needs her help because he's sick. However, she finds out it's a lie, and Pei asks her to be the assistant of his dreams, and she hangs up. Her mother asks which boy keeps calling her, and she's about to say it's her boyfriend. After that, her cousin Yoli arrives at school, who attracts all the boys' attention. When her heel gets stuck, Pei is the first one to help her. Lola feels jealous that he's being so nice to her. She also remembers that, when they were kids, her cousin said she would take everything Lola had, and she feels scared because she realizes she's in her class. Everyone says she's very pretty, and Lola wonders if Pei likes her too. But while distracted, the teacher punishes her, and her cousin looks at her smugly. After that, Lola finds out that Pei has been spying on Yoli, and even though she gets angry, he keeps looking at her in secret. One day, they meet and become friends, which bothers Lola because every time they smile together, it feels like an arrow to her heart. At school, all the girls are jealous and talk to her about getting back at her cousin. Meanwhile, Pei goes to her house and discovers she lives in a luxurious house, unlike Lola. He wonders why their families have such a big difference in money. She tells him her families are at odds, and then they go to the bowling alley. She doesn't know how to bowl, so he becomes her teacher and takes advantage of the situation to touch every part of her body. She gets excited until Yuli arrives, and all of Pei's attention turns to her. Lola gets distracted, and when she tries to jump, she slips and everyone laughs. Julie approaches Pei again, and Lola, feeling down, walks home alone. She discovers Remy arguing with his mother because she plans to move abroad. He angrily tells her that she never considers his feelings and accuses her. Later, Remy breaks a photo of his mother, and Lola sees it, reading a note on the photo. He gives it to her along with a letter that says she can choose her own family. His sincerity makes her feel something for him. Then, for the first time, Remy says good morning to her, which surprises her and makes her proud. After that, Julie invites her to her birthday, and to her surprise, Pei seems to think Lola is very pretty and gives her more attention than he gives Yuli. This bothers Yuli, who plans a trip so they can be alone together, but Lola gets lost. Pei finds her like a knight and gives her a feather from his favorite bird, which she loves. He feels tenderness and kindly promises her he will come back every year to this place where they are happy. However, at school, it's different because Yuli grabs Pei's attention and he is unable to say no to her. Lola touches the feather he gave her and thinks about him until she remembers her deceased father. Her friend consoles her, and she realizes she needs Pei to be happy. So her friend suggests a meeting, and Lola arrives early, trying to tell Pei she likes him, but she is so nervous that the words don't come out. She gathers courage, but just as she's about to tell him, Yuli appears and Lola hides the gift she was going to give him. Lola is sad, and a boy gives her a handkerchief, telling her that a beautiful girl like her shouldn't cry. To her surprise, this boy is Danny, a new student at school, and he greets Lola, making her feel shy. Pei feels jealous. Then, Yuli smiles at Danny and he sits next to her, which Pei doesn't like because Danny becomes his competition for being the most popular. Pei acts like he's the smartest in math, but it's Danny who answers the question correctly, and they tell Pei he needs to study more. Lola becomes responsible for teaching him at school, and he looks at her so long that he tells her she's pretty. This surprises her because she's not used to many compliments. Then, he makes a funny face to make her laugh. She thinks he's a nice guy. Later, Pei plays a football match, and when the ball goes to Danny's feet, they are sure he doesn't know how to play. To their surprise, Danny scores a great goal, leaving Pei speechless. He sees Danny as his enemy and decides to challenge him to a goal-scoring contest, confident he will win because he's played football a lot. However, he doesn't expect Danny to be so good, and Danny catches every ball Pei throws at him until they break a classroom window with the ball. Guards hear the noise and chase them through the school, and they hide like ninjas under a staircase, losing the guards. Danny is impressed by Pei's skills. Then he meets Lola, who is happy to see his smile again. He informs her that the university entrance exam is coming soon. He has little chance of getting in, but starts becoming a better student, getting better grades because he wants to go to Lola's university, which moves her deeply. Later, she sees Remy arguing with his father because his mother has found a new husband, and Remy is angry. His father explains to him that his mother is almost 50 years old and has the right to get married. Remy tells his father that he is a coward, and he takes it upon himself to reunite his parents, but it is almost impossible, and he is very sad. So Lola gives him his favorite food, which lifts his spirits. Then, in the final exam, all the students strain their brains to the max, and Pei is proud of the good exam he took. Everyone celebrates by drinking a lot, except Yuli, because her parents want to send her abroad to study, and she tells Pei that she wants to stay with him. She then drinks a lot and almost vomits, running to the bathroom at the same time as some suspicious men sneak into the women's bathroom. Yuli then discovers someone secretly recording her while she is on the toilet, and she leaves, scared. She tells Pei everything, and he tells the guys to delete the video immediately. They laugh at him, and Pei hits them, but they're stronger and beat him with such violence that they leave him on the ground, badly injured. The men try to kiss Yuli, and Pei, with his last strength, grabs a bottle and hits the leader in the head. Then, Pei passes out, and the police arrest him because he fractured the leader's skull. The punishment for this is an economic compensation for the medical expenses of the guy to reconstruct his head. Additionally, he is sent to jail, and Pei spends several months in nightmares because he is locked up with thugs. His lawyer visits him and tells him that what he did is very serious. He says that Yuli can prove he is innocent, but she is contacted and told that they have photos of her private parts, and she refuses to testify on Pei's behalf. Pei is found guilty of attempted murder and is sentenced to a year in prison. Meanwhile, Lola spends the vacation without knowing about Pei, thinking that it is because he doesn't love her. So, she first changes her hairstyle and then goes out with other boys who try to make her fall for them, but she is unable to forget him. She visits Pei's mother, who tells her that her son is in jail, poor thing, and she runs to visit him. However, he denies her visit because he doesn't want her to see him as a criminal. A year passes, and he is so sad that he gets sick and ends up in the hospital. He murmurs Pei's name, who finally gets out of jail, and his friend tells him that Lola needs him. So he visits her. She gets emotional and feels that her heart revives, and Pei gives her a doll with his face so she can always carry it, protecting her. After recovering, she accompanies him to a football game and falls in love with him. Then, Pei decides to become a valuable person and looks for a decent job. He gets a job at a gas station. He works hard to prove that he is now a good person and no longer a criminal. However, he feels that he is not a good boyfriend for Lola because she is studying at university while he earns little money. Then, his friends introduce her to other boys, who bore her until Kuzin arrives, her English teacher, who helps her study. They become closer between classes, and at night, he visits her as a surprise and tells her that he loves spending time with her. He tries to seduce her, and she explains that she is not thinking about boys right now, but he insists and invites her to a romantic date, which she accepts. After this, a guy loses his wallet at the gas station, and his coworker takes the opportunity to say it was Pei. They suspect him because of his criminal record. He insists that he didn't steal the wallet and promises to find it, discovering that it was the truck driver. And when he tells Lola, she cancels the date with Kuzin to help her beloved Pei, who sincerely thanks her. The three of them search for the wallet while Kuzin waits for Lola, and as night falls, he tells her to leave because she has a test the next day. But she doesn't care about the exam because she doesn't want him to get fired and continues searching until it's very late. Back home, Danny tells her that Lola is in love with him. Then, the next day, he secretly returns to the warehouse and finds the wallet, taking it to the gas station, but Pei doesn't show up because he is running errands and leaves her because he has to take an important exam. After this, Kuzin waits for her like he is her boyfriend, and Pei, jealous, shows up and she tells him that Kuzin is just her friend. Then, Pei grabs his hand so hard that he almost breaks it, and Lola tells him not to be rude. Kuzin is very kind and Lola apologizes to him, and in return, he manages to have dinner with her. Their relationship becomes closer as Kuzin likes Lola and buys her heart-shaped chocolates, but when they go out, Pei sees him giving them to another girl, and he suspects that he actually has two girlfriends. He spies on him and tells Lola to be careful because he is sure Kuzin is a playboy who wants to hurt her, but she thinks Pei is just jealous and doesn't believe him. Kuzin tells her that he only has eyes for her and begins confessing his true feelings, gradually winning Lola's heart. Pei, feeling threatened, retaliates and humiliates Kuzin on the soccer field, to which Kuzin responds in the nightclub because he is an incredible dancer, and everyone is surprised. Kuzin then gains a good reputation, and Pei, to impress Lola, decides to enroll in university and takes the entrance exam, which goes very well. However, during the meeting, the director finds out that he was in jail and denies him entry into the university, shattering his dreams. He curses his life, and Lola encourages him. She is hired by a wealthy company, and it's a mystery who the boss is. Her co-workers tell her that he never shows up, and one day she discovers that her boss is Remy, her half-brother, who specifically had her hired to keep her close. Then, to make her happy, he also hires Pei, and he feels like he has a new chance in life. The three of them seem like friends at work, but Remy makes Pei work late, treating him like garbage, which makes him extremely tired. Still, he saves money and buys a new house and plans to invite Lola when she gets a call from a hospital because they've discovered her mother has cancer. She is hospitalized, and Remy accompanies Lola every day, but complains about being in a cheap room. Then, suddenly, they move her mother to the VIP section of the hospital with the best care, and her mother believes she paid for it. However, Lola doesn't have money for this and finds out that it was Remy who paid for it, spending all his money to make her happy. Their relationship improves, and at a banquet, Yuli appears. The joy of the event turns into seriousness because it was because of her that Pei went to jail. Yuli confesses that she was blackmailed. She tries to reconcile with him, even touching his arm, hinting that they should go to bed, but he pushes her away and says his feelings are for another girl. She gets angry because she has never been rejected before, and he decides to bring flowers to the hospital for Lola's mother, and she sincerely thanks him, saying that he should become her daughter's husband. He agrees, while Remy complains of stomach pain, and Lola gives him medicine that relieves his condition. She finds out that Remy sent flowers to her mother and thinks that he was the one who caused all this. She thanks him, and poor P is left with a dumbfounded look, although not so. P helps her with a design for the work, and that's not all, because he accompanies her to the hospital and confesses that he gave her the flowers. She gets shy, and he takes the opportunity to open his heart and confesses that she is always his priority, even before his business, even his own life. She swallows nervously and tells her friend about it. Her friend makes a plan to bring them together. She organizes a double date in which they try to make Lola and P confess their feelings, and for this reason, they play a game of truth or dare. P then loses, and as punishment, he must say what type of girl he likes. He reveals that he likes girls who are intelligent, kind, and have a sense of humor, and that right now he only thinks about Lola, who lights up his life. He says every second with her is worth it. Then, he goes to confess his love when a group of girls interrupts them, Lola leaves, and he is left heartbroken. After that, P closes an important deal and is so excited that he asks Lola for a date, buys her flowers, but Remy finds out and makes her work late into the night. P waits for her for hours, but she doesn't show up and his heart sinks. When the meeting ends, she runs to the date, but when she arrives, he's already gone, and she feels truly awful until she finds out that P had prepared a surprise for her because he loves her and would wait for her all his life. She doubts his feelings, and he knows she rejected him in the past, which makes him afraid, but he wants her to know that of all the girls he met, she is the most important in his life. Then, he makes her touch his chest and says it took him 7 years to realize that she is the owner of his heart, and now he knows it. P asks her to be his girlfriend, and she, in tears, accepts, and they hug each other with great emotion. After that, there's a company party, and she finds out that P has been leaving little gifts everywhere that brighten her heart. Her stepbrother notices and tells Yoli. Enraged, she tells him she will steal his boyfriend, and Lola fights with her because she treated P badly in the past, and this time, she will do anything to make sure she doesn't ruin her relationship with P, who picks her up after work. Remy sees them together and gets very envious. Then, P feels like kissing her and gets close to her lips, but her friend opens the door and ruins it. She asks them to continue, and Lola, bravely, kisses him on the cheek, which makes his soul come alive. They stay separated by the door and united by love. But then Remy tells a joke that makes Lola laugh, and Yoli sees this and takes the opportunity to tell P that she is cheating on him. Because of this, P shows up at her work and sees how Lola suddenly gets dizzy and needs to sit down. P accompanies her and gives her food, as she has no strength, and she finishes her tasks. The next day, P leaves her flowers along with a love note, and her colleagues say she has the best boyfriend. Then they give her another gift, this time from Remy. She discovers that it's a mirror, the same as the one he gave her years ago, but this time it's not broken because now his love for her is pure. He confesses that he likes her, but she ignores him, and as she leaves, she sees a bus with her name. P shows up dressed as Santa Claus and shouts to the whole world that he is in love with her. Lola asks him to be quiet, but he keeps showing his love to everyone, explaining that only a kiss can shut him up. So, Lola hesitates for a moment and then gives him a beautiful kiss that brings P eternal happiness. However, when she wakes up, she has a nosebleed and doesn't pay attention to her body, thinking it's a small issue, but during a meeting, she faints and Remy rushes her to the hospital. Afterward, P takes care of her with affection, and she gives him a hug that brings him happiness because he is a safe place for her. However, she tells him that her boss wants to open a company in Berlin, and she is in charge of the company, which would mean moving there. This would lead to a long-distance relationship, and she is afraid of losing his love. He reassures her, saying that he is sure the affection they share can't be broken by millions of miles, as they promise true love. After that, Lola faints, and after some tests, the doctor has a serious expression when telling her that she has leukemia. This is a disease with a very high mortality rate, and he explains that she only has a 10% chance of survival. Lola feels terrified because she is too young to die. Then, P calls her and she, crying, says she doesn't want to see him and hangs up. But he senses something is wrong, and she throws herself into her mother's arms, who comforts her, while her stepfather fears she might suspect the leukemia, so he lies and Remy cooperates in deceiving her. Then, Lola notices how her illness is taking away her strength, and Remy takes care of her. Her father discovers that he loves her and tells him to be honest with Lola. She then goes to the hospital to receive chemotherapy, and to prevent P from suspecting, she says she is going to villain to work. She tries to break up with him, but P says he loves her, and she explains that their relationship has no future. He says this is nonsense and hugs her, making her feel worse because the more she loves him, the harder it is to leave. To her surprise, he says he will accompany her on her trip, but she refuses and gives him an embrace full of pain. Lola then locks herself in her room and writes a farewell letter to P, while recalling all the beautiful moments they shared and saying he was the man of her life. After that, Lola says goodbye to her family and is admitted to the hospital, where the illness makes her feel awful. She goes to the bathroom to vomit and is horrified to discover that her hair is falling out, which makes her feel desperate about her fate. Her stepbrother is by her side, helping her regain her composure, and she agrees to undergo chemotherapy. Days pass, and through the window, she sees birds that remind her of P, who is searching for her everywhere. Her mother lies, saying she doesn't know where she is. Then, he goes to the lake where they were happy together, and upon seeing that she isn't there, he becomes depressed. After that, Lola's mother passes away, and they go to the cemetery to bring flowers, and she thanks her stepfather for making her happy in her final years. He joins the hands of his two children and tells them that now they are alone in the world and must take care of each other. He asks them to please be happy, and Remy agrees to stay by Lola's side for the next few years, during which, unfortunately, she doesn't improve. As a result, the doctors tell her she urgently needs a bone marrow donor to save her life. She begins painting to ease her sadness and creates a painting of a feather, which she displays at an exhibition. P attends the exhibition, and when he sees the painting, he is speechless because it is the same feather he gave Lola years ago. He asks who created the painting, and the director replies that it is anonymous. He waits for hours, and suddenly, Lola appears, and they meet face to face. Their souls explode, and she congratulates him on his successful travel business, but he asks for an explanation of why she disappeared all these years. She says she simply got lost. This doesn't convince P, and she is harsh with him, telling him to leave the past behind and face a new life without her. P then makes one last attempt and mentions the moment of their kiss, and her eyes shine because she can't hide her love. She says that, of course, she remembers the kiss, but to push him away, she speaks cruelly and says their relationship is over. So Lola feels pain and needs a bone marrow transplant right away, but unfortunately, there are none available, and she starts to say goodbye to all her loved ones. First, Lola meets with her friend after a long time and tells her that she is sick. Her friend tells her that she should do the things she never could do and, above all, be with the people she loves the most. At that moment, Lola asks if that person is Pei. Lola answers, of course, and runs to his side. Then, Pei, upon seeing her, feels alive again, and she apologizes for disappearing. At that moment, Pei asks her if she remembers her biggest dream, and we see that some time ago, she made a sketch of a cabin to watch the birds. Pei shows her that he built the cabin all this time to make her happy. They enter, and Lola sees her painting there. He explains that he bought it because he knew it was hers and needed a memory of her. Pei gets serious and tells her that his heart belongs to her, and Lola explains that they have no future together. He says he won't let the love of his life slip away and hugs her, so she doesn't leave. Then, Pei asks to grow old together, which makes Lola cry even more as she knows it's impossible. She receives a call from Remy to check if she's okay, and takes advantage of this to say that she is in a relationship with his sister, Asim. She then leaves, and Pei is heartbroken. Meanwhile, Remy talks to Lola's father and reveals that Lola's mother's biggest dream was for her to marry him. Therefore, before she passed away, Lola's mother asked Remy to fulfill this dream. He then asks her to marry him. Lola initially refuses, but her body suffers from great pain, and she thinks of her dear mother. She decides to accept Remy's proposal, and he decorates the whole house with romantic things. She wears her mother's white dress and prepares for the wedding. At that moment, she starts having nosebleeds and realizes that she doesn't have much time left, so she prefers to run away from the ceremony. Her friend notices, and the first person he goes to is Pei, who is giving a graduation speech. She asks him where he hid her, but he doesn't understand what she says and, finally, discovers that Lola is sick with leukemia. For the last 4 years, she has been distancing herself from him so that he wouldn't suffer. Pei finds Lola's journal and discovers that she always liked him. He says he won't allow her to marry anyone else and goes to the wedding. There, he tells Remy that because of him, Lola has disappeared. The two fight and argue about who loves her more, and Pei says that he has always loved her truly. She is the love of his life. So he goes to the lake, the place where they loved each other. On the way, he finds Lola's diary, where she still keeps the pen he gave her. He knows they are meant to be together. When he arrives at the lake, he calls her name until his lungs can't take it anymore. Suddenly, he sees Remy there, holding the drawing of a bird, because Lola always wanted to be a bird in her next life. Pei asks where she is, and Remy says that she disappeared because they couldn't find the bone marrow donor and Lola didn't want him to see her dying, preferring he remember her as the girl who loved him with all her soul. So, Lola disappears from the world, though Pei holds on to hope that she will return. A month passes, and Pei's business is doing well. We see that he keeps the painting she made at home because, although his life continues, he still looks for her every day, no matter if it's cold or hot, because he doesn't lose hope. Then, he goes to the lake with the camera, and after much searching, he finally finds Lola in the distance because she truly found a bone marrow donor. He smiles with pure happiness because the love of his life is alive, and now his life has meaning again. The love they have for each other is so strong that they don't think about separating, whether it's joy or sickness. He promises to be with her for the rest of his life. And well, if you liked the video, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. Also, I'll leave more videos here that I'm sure you'll love. Thank you so much for your time, and see you later.